you on the face?
No, I don't like the tongue lashing from a canine.
No, I mean I don't mean like on the lips or anything, but I'll let that happen. I mean on the randomly on
I
the face.
feel like
I
my
don't encourage
dogs
it.
don't know where to kiss, so they're like, lick me in the eyeball, and that's
Right, and
uncomfortable.
then it only takes one good time of you seeing the dog in the corner licking other things that you're like,
Right.
maybe I shouldn't allow this to
It's a little
happen.
close to my face.
Maybe we should start the show now.
We should.
What do you think? Hello, friends. My name is Matt Murphy, and I say all the best words.
My name's Cameron Smith, and I write all the best words.
And together, believe it or not, we came up with a creative title. This is all the best words.
I know words. I have the best words.
This is All the Best Words with Matt Murphy and Cameron Smith.
Hello, and welcome in for another edition of All the Best Words. I'm very, 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 very excited.
That's a lot of very. Me too.
Mainly because I want some barbecue now because of your shirt. You might not be able to see his shirt, but it says Hog's Breath, which is a fabulous saloon, and it makes me want some barbecue.
I just want barbecue all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
There's never not a time where I'm like, oh, barbecue sounds bad. I mean, I can't imagine
People
that.
have tried to draw me into those debates. Like, hey, do you like Kansas City barbecue? Yes. Do you like South Carolina? But yes. Do you like New York? Yes. Do you
Right.
like, yes. All of it.
Is
I like all
it
of
a pig or a cow that's cooked slowly? And if the answer is yes, then I'm in.
I'm all in. I'm all in on all the best words. And for this edition, I think I get to go first. We
You
try to
do.
trade those things off, friends. And today, my best words, it's actually two words. I guess you could kind of combine them. It is boy fight.
Hmm.
Boy fight.
Hmm.
There was a time when two young men, boys, 13, 14, 15, even 16 or 17 years old, could have an altercation, a disagreement, probably stupid in its nature, and they could have a fight.
Yes.
And a lot of times this would happen in the locker room. This would happen outside of school, before or after school. Sometimes might even happen in a hallway. A lot of times in school settings. Sometimes not. Sometimes on a Friday night at the Sonic in Thompson, Georgia. A couple of boys would get upset at one another and they have a little fight. And you know what would happen? They'd fight and then people would pull them apart and they would stop fighting.
It'd
They'd
be
be
over.
all emotional and frustrated and mad and angry and maybe some yelling. And then it would be over. The reason I'm thinking of this is because of the incident involving an individual by the name of Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony were two students at competing schools at a track meet. There was a weather delay at the track meet. This is in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And during the weather delay, Anthony, for some reason, decided to go sit under the tent of Austin Metcalf's team. They had team tents set up in the stands, and everybody was gathered under the tents waiting out the weather delay. An altercation ensued where Metcalf was like, hey, dude, you're under the wrong tent. You need to get out of here. And Anthony said, you don't tell me what to do. He says, you need to get out of here. Stood up. Guy goes to his bag, Anthony does, reaches into the bag and says, don't touch me. Apparently Metcalf, according to reports from eyewitnesses on the scene, pushed him, and at that point, Anthony pulled out a knife out of his bag and stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest and killed him. Now Anthony is charged with murder, and there are groups that are claiming that Anthony acted in self-defense because Metcalf put his hands on Anthony first. Add this to the mix. Anthony is black, and Metcalf, the deceased young man, is white. And so now there are some racial elements that I don't believe need to be there at all that have been in the mix. Not necessarily trying to dissect the details of that case.
Sure.
I just don't know what's happened in society that we allow boy fights to escalate in the way that we do. There was a time where that would have ended with two very frustrated, emotional 17-year-olds.
Sure.
Maybe suspended for a few days from school for fighting on school property. And today, in 2025, it ended with somebody dead.
Yeah. I actually remember in high school, I went to Brentwood Academy outside of Nashville, And one of my teachers, when there was a beef, as it were, between two young men, they would get these old, heavy boxing gloves. I mean, these things had to weigh 20 pounds. I mean, they were ridiculous. And go down to the weight room on one of the wrestling mats, let them go at it.
Let's go.
And the idea was, these gloves are so heavy, you guys are going to wear yourselves out way faster than you're going to do damage. And that's how you sorted it out. And I'm not saying that that was the best conflict resolution, but it sure worked. And so we all kind of knew that. We knew that if we needed to work it out in a little more aggressive way, there was a channel to do that. And I think what's happened now is that we've lived so long in this virtual wasteland where beefs and online grievances are highly escalated, but there's no real avenue for resolution, right? And then we go over into the real world, and a lot of those young developing brains should have had the ability to know, here's how we step this down, here's how we appropriately respond. And I've had to teach my boys, hey, what's an appropriate response if somebody shoves you? Do you stab them?
Well, and I think there's, in some cases, you're dealing with an absence of a masculine figure in the home. I think that those gender differences matter when it comes to things like this. And two, there's this concept of disculture, right, where you have disrespected me. And based on that level of disrespect, I have to escalate this well beyond what I think you and I would have considered to be appropriate back in the day, even if we were those young, skulls of mush. And with that disculture attitude, well, I have to not only get retribution against you, but I have to show everybody else around me that I'm not to be disrespected. I think that attitude goes a long way toward escalating some of these issues. Your word, sir?
It's related. It's testosterone.
Ooh.
In my house right now, I have 5 boys. Their ages are 16, 15, 15, 13, and 10.
Cameron's wife is an absolute saint.
She's wonderful. We have more testosterone.
Wait, say the ages again.
16, 15, 15, 13, and 10. We have more testosterone than a testosterone replacement clinic. Like, we could donate. And what I've seen is this matters so much to so many aspects of our lives, and we are failing young men. And how I know this is because we say, sit down, shut up, and keep your hands to yourself. And that's education, that's their life. They are not designed to do that. The testosterone is like jet fuel, and it is raging. That's a reality. You know it. I know it. Any man who's dealt with going through puberty in this process has, you use the term mushy-brained, but like, we know what that's like. And it's really intense, and it's a biological reality we need to acknowledge. So in my house, we deal with that testosterone. We say, we're going to go in the garage. We're going to flip some tires. We are going to lift some weights. We're going to exercise. We're going to learn how to do this. We're going to wrestle. We're going to do sports, and we're going to move. Because when we burn off that energy, then we can be in a position where we can learn in school, where we can use our words, where we can do the things that society wants young men to be able to do, but we do the opposite. We tell them, you sit still, use your words, keep your hands to yourself, do all this stuff, but we do not tell them how to deal with all that energy.
Boys are a lot like dogs in this regard. I mean, I know from my little terrier mix dog, Mrs. Beasley, that if I'm sitting at my desk working on a show for my talk show, and Mrs. Beasley comes up to me, I've learned with the right demeanor, the right attitude, this jumpy, oftentimes she has a ball in her mouth, and she's jumpy, and she's wide-eyed, and I realize, I spit the bit for a long time. I was like, go away, go on, I'm working, not now. But now I realize how much easier is it for me to take a break, go outside for 5 or 10 minutes, throw the ball with Mrs. Beasley, let her burn off some of that little doggy energy, and then everybody calms down as a result. I think in the state of Tennessee, where we're broadcasting from, there was a bill recently in elementary schools, and I think it's passed the General Assembly and it's going to the governor's desk. If not, it's in the Senate, where they are asking local school districts to give more outdoor unstructured playtime
Amen.
to the elementary schools. Because the idea is, and some would say, oh, well, no, this is taken away from educational time. We need to concentrate on reading. No, it's actually, the idea is this is going to benefit that time too. Because if you give them 40 minutes, I think it's 40 or 45 minutes a day. You know, right now in our elementary schools, some school systems only require 15 minutes a day. It's not enough. The idea is, and I know you're talking about boys, and I think this is primarily going to benefit the young boy population, maybe some of the girls too. Get them outside, let them burn off some energy, let them run around, let them get that socialization that they're so desperately missing in so many aspects of their life, and then get them back in the classroom. And now I think we can calm down a little bit and we can learn a few things.
Yeah, and I can tell you just from my sons in my house, when they have the immediate earned success, I know how simple this is. If they have a goal, they want to bench press 135 pounds, 225 pounds, whatever it is, and they achieve that goal, they kind of feel like they can do anything. If they they race flipping these tires down our cul-de-sac.
These are big tires too.
They are
I've seen them.
Big tires. And they race and they want to win. And it teaches them this resilience of do difficult things. And you know what you can't do when you're flipping a tire? You can't look at your phone. Mm-hmm. And keeping them away from the attention treadmill that those devices want to put them on and giving them that time. Man, I've been able to have conversations with them that I'd never have with them because they're not focused on the conversation. They're not like, my dad's interrogating me. They're like, we're working out together and we're just talking. And that builds relationships and it helps with the weirdness that is descended upon all of our kids. And I think if we want to address some of our cultural wrongs, we got to deal with testosterone, deal with it in a natural way.
How many loads of laundry you do in a week?
Man,
I mean, it's a lot, right?
It's so
a lot of socks, Cameron.
A lot of socks made everywhere. And they're
a lot of socks.
What?
What?
Jeez.
What?
But I will say the dryer.
What are their ages again?
Shush. The dryer vent outside of my house. We go through so much laundry that there is a pile of lint I have to remove because the wind does not blow it away fast enough.
Well, maybe next time on All the Best Words, one of the words will be dried socks. I don't know. Cameron, thank you for writing All the Best Words.
And thank you for saying all the best words.
This has been All the Best Words. Until next time.